Hello everyone, welcome to Multilingual. I'm Karina, your English language trainer, and in today's video let's start the most common mistakes you probably make while speaking English. I've looked back at my teaching experience, talked to my colleagues, and made a list of some of the most popular issues. Let's go through the list first. You forget the ending S with he, she, it in present simple. She cook a nice meal instead of saying she cooks a nice meal. You forget the verb to be when using present continuous. You say, I'm working on a new project at the moment, instead of saying, I'm working on a new project at the moment. You make the word information and advice plural. I got a lot of informations from him. Could you give me some advices? But in English, it's not possible to use them in plural. So they are always singular and are never used with the ending s. You misplace adverbs of frequency, like often, always, usually, and you say something like, they come back home usually at 5. So the position of the word is wrong. Or you put too many in one sentence and say something like, they sometimes come back usually at 5. You use in instead of to in this sentence. I have never been in Alaska. The correct grammar would be, I have never been to Alaska. You forget do or does or did when forming questions. Where does she work? Where you go? Instead of saying, where does she work? Where did you go? You always use the same words like good, bad, nice, very, instead of using different words. You say, the food was very good. The weather was really nice. So you need more vocabulary. You mix up much and many. There were much people at the party, instead of saying there were many people at the party. You use present simple instead of present continuous. Do you enjoy the weather? Instead of saying, are you enjoying the weather? And finally, you use present simple instead of using present perfect continuous. I work for this company for years, instead of saying, I have been working for this company for years. Could you recognize any of your mistakes? In the description box down below, you'll find timestamps so that you can jump to the mistake you want to learn more about. If you have more time today, though, I invite you to watch this video completely. And now, without further ado, let's jump into this. The most common mistake I hear from English language learners is that they forget to add the ending s to the end of the verb when using present simple. What is present simple? Like, I wake up in the morning, have a shower, make breakfast, afterwards I leave home and drive to work. Every verb is in present simple here. So if you speak about yourself, you don't need to add an s, right? However, if you mean another person or thing in singular, it's necessary to put an s at the end of the verb. My roommate, he or she, wakes up later, has a shower, makes breakfast, leaves home, and drives to work. So I always put an s while speaking about another person or thing. You say, I do, but she does. You go to bed, he goes to bed. It rains, it snows, it costs. Make sure to add an s, please. In theory, everybody seems to know the rule, but when it comes to speaking, everybody seems to forget it. The next mistake you can see in the following example. I working on a project at the moment. Here you use present continuous without the verb to be. So it should be, I am working on a project at the moment. If you want to contract this form, you can say, I'm working on a project at the moment. But still, there is an am, right? Present continuous always consists of two verbs. And unfortunately, I hear this mistake a lot, that people forget the first one. The first one shows the present time. To be, I am, he, she, it is, you with they are. Plus the second main verb with ing that shows the continuous form. So together they build the present continuous tense. She is working on a new project. For questions, is she working on a new project? What are you doing? Where is he going? Remember to use am, is, are if you use the ing form. I actually have a complete video on present continuous, so please follow the link if you want to learn a little bit more about it. Information and advice can't be used in plural in English. Can't. It's a rule. It might be different from your native language. In German, for example, you can easily say informations and advices. And it sounds like this: Informationen und Ratschläge. As well as in Spanish, you can say informaciones y consejos. But you can't put an S to these nouns in English. So informations and advices don't exist and sound really wrong. Furthermore, we don't use articles e or n with these words. If you mean just one, you can say a piece of advice or a piece of information. For plural, we use these words with much, a lot of, and some. I don't have much information for you today. A lot of information is always helpful. Would you mind giving me some information on the issue? So please remember this, take it as it is, and use it correctly. These are adverbs of frequency, and unfortunately, they often get misplaced. Poor things. Always, usually, never, often, rarely, seldom, sometimes. Here is a rule. Please put these adverbs between the subject and the verb. She always stays at this hotel. I never have cereal for breakfast. Mark and Anna rarely come on time. If you have a to-worded verb in your sentence, then you should place the adverb between the first verb. She has always been very clever. They have never seen an elephant. You see, it's after the first part of the verb. Or you have a modal verb in your sentence. She can always answer your questions. The word sometimes is more flexible. You can put it either in between or at the beginning or at the ending. Sometimes they hear strange noises at the beginning of the sentence. They sometimes hear strange noises in the middle. They hear strange noises sometimes at the end of the sentence. You have to be careful with the verb to be. The verb to be has a very strong connection with its subject. They are inseparable, like best friends. That means you can't separate them. So it must be followed by the adverb. For example, you say, she is always late after classes. You see, always is after is. They are never interested in what I'm saying. Never. If you use get instead of be, again, you have to put the adverb between the subject and the verb. They never get interested in what I'm saying. Never get. In the sentences like I have never been, I've never traveled, I've never gone, Copenhagen, the missing preposition is to and not in. So you say, I've never been to Copenhagen. The same rule works for the questions like, have you ever been to Copenhagen? Not in. There is no explanation for this, so you just have to remember that we use the preposition to instead of in there. But you can also keep in mind that if it's a closed place or a smaller place, not a city, not a country, you can also use the preposition in. For example, I've been in your backyard. But you can also say, I've been to your backyard. So with the preposition to, you're always on the safe side. The next mistake concerns forming questions. For example, you want to ask someone where they stayed on holiday. And I hear this question a lot then. Where you stayed on holiday? What you saw? What do you see? To form a question, we need a verb that helps you ask this question. And I'm asking myself, why do people make this mistake? Well, I think because the helping verbs do, does, and did, which are needed in these questions, they are actually invisible if you make positive sentences. And you tend to forget them while asking a question. So also it probably doesn't exist in your native language and it can't be translated either, but we have to use it because without it, it just sounds wrong, you know? We call them auxiliary verbs or helping verbs. Maybe you've heard this word before, maybe not. So auxiliary verbs in present simple are do for I, you, we, they, and das for he, she, and it. And in past simple, it's did for every pronoun. So the right version would be, where did you stay on holiday? Where do you usually stay on holiday? Where does she stay on holiday? In past, what did you see? Because the past form is already mentioned in the verb did, we put saw in its infinitive form. So it's not what did you saw, that's another mistake I hear a lot. It's what did you see? What did she say? Instead of what did she said? This is wrong. And please keep this in mind and try to avoid this mistake. You always use the words good, bad, nice, interesting, very, instead of using different words. The food was very good. It's not a mistake, it's just annoying because actually these words do not show a lot of emotions and you want to be more expressive, right? So for this, let me give you some more words for good and nice and interesting and very. If you speak about food, you can say that it was delicious or finger-licking good. You know, like you licked every finger after you've eaten it up. If it's about the weather, you can say lovely, gorgeous, or it's boiling if it's hot and freezing if it's cold. If you speak about someone's performance, acting, or presentation, you can say that it's outstanding, inspiring, awesome, amazing, admirable. For the word interesting, you can say informative, well done, well written, exciting, impressive, intriguing, fascinating, captivating, engaging. I think I can continue the list until tomorrow. What an impressive story. What a fascinating story. This book is quite informative. I'd recommend you to read it. Karina's channel is really informative. I totally recommend you to watch it. If it's a novel, you can say that it's a page-turner. If you speak about a view, you can say that it's breathtaking. For the word very, you can use the words extremely, totally, absolutely. This trip was extremely exciting. That book is totally captivating. His speech was absolutely inspiring. Check out one of my videos on boosting your vocabulary. Here I have some more links. You mix up words much and many. I think everybody knows this problem. You say there were much people at the event, or I don't have many money. In English, uncountable words go together with much, and countable words are used with many. Almost every word that needs an S in plural is countable. There are some exceptions, of course, like the words people and children, they have no S, but they're countable, so you use these words with many, not much. There were many children, there were many people in the room. But I don't have much money right now, so you can't say monies, and it's uncountable in English, and you have to say much. There is a universal word that will help you solve this problem of much and many. You can say a lot of. So if you don't know whether it's much or many, you have no time to think, you can say a lot of. There were a lot of people in the room. I don't have a lot of money right now. Present simple and present continuous verb tenses. What do you do is present simple. What are you doing is present continuous. These tenses often get mixed up. Recently, I got a message from a friend of mine and he asked me this question. Hi Karina, how are you? Do you enjoy the weather? Okay, the right question would be, are you enjoying the weather? Because it's happening at the moment, today, and you're supposed to ask this question in present continuous. Hey, are you enjoying the weather? Or what are you doing? Are you having a good time on holiday? Remember that we use present simple for repeated actions, regular actions. Present continuous, it's the verb to be, and the verb with ing is used for actions happening at the moment, at the time of speaking, or at this time period. Actions that are not regular. Compare the two sentences. What do you do in your free time? The meaning is, what do you do regularly, normally, usually, right? And what are you doing today? It's only for today, so I'm not asking about your regular activities. If you want to understand the difference better, follow the link. I have another really informative video on this topic of present simple and present continuous. The final mistake for today also concerns tenses. Tenses are quite a challenge for someone learning English. Tenses are tense. On my channel, you can find a couple of videos on different tenses, including present perfect continuous. So, the last common mistake people make is this one. I work for the company for over 5 years now. Or, I work for the company since last year. Work is present simple. And if you remember, it's used for repeated actions. It's not suitable in this sentence. Remember this, with the words since and for, we usually use present perfect continuous. For the verb to work, it's have been working. For he, she, and it, it's has been working with an S. So the right version would be, I have been working for this company for more than 5 years, or since last year. That's it for today. Thank you for joining me in this video. I hope it was helpful, and from now on you'll be able to avoid these mistakes. If you want, you can put down in the comments down below what mistakes you make, what annoys you a lot, and maybe I could target them in the next video. Stay safe, take care, and see you in my next one. Bye guys!